Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited to be reviewing, demoing, swatching, comparing, and doing a tutorial of the brand new Huda Beauty Rose Quartz collection. So this is a collection that has a few pieces in it. We've got an eyeshadow palette. We have the infamous highlighter. If you know, you know. A lot of people are talking about that. We're gonna do a demo swatches. I'm gonna compare to some other palettes of hers. I'm gonna give you my thoughts. We're gonna zoom in and we're gonna talk about how this applies, what we think of it, and of course we're going to talk about this. So if you haven't seen it, you're probably like, what is that? So we're going to be doing a full review on this collection. If you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe, and if you like these types of videos, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out. If you want to see more first impressions on hyped new makeup, always leave your request down below. I will link everything and all the information down below that I can. So all the makeup I'm wearing, the necklaces, and all of the tops that I'm wearing if I can. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So I always like to talk about the products, the pricing, when it's going to be available, and show you swatches and then get into the demo. I've received a couple comments saying that they just want me to start applying the products, but I do think it's important to tell you the pricing and when it's going to be available, show you close-ups. So I'm going to leave a timestamp from now on just to let you know when application begins if you don't care about all the information. And I will also leave all the information in the description box as well in terms of like pricing and when you can get it. Let me know your feedback on that. But in this collection, we have 3 makeup products. This is the pamphlet that she sent over. She looks absolutely stunning. So this is the Rose Quartz collection, and we have the eyeshadow palette, the silk balm, which is the lip balm, and then we also have the face gloss, which everybody's talking about. So the eyeshadow palette is going to retail for $67, the silk balm $21, and the face gloss $39. These are going to be available online and in store November 1st. I'm assuming it would be Huda's website as well as Sephora, but I'm not sure if it's coming to Sephora. I would assume so. And if so, it's perfect timing for the Sephora VIB sale, which starts on November 5th. Starting out with the eyeshadow palette, the outer box packaging is white with pink accents, and it also says Rose Quartz and Huda Beauty in this foiled pink, sort of like a rose gold pinky color. But the actual packaging on the palette is absolutely stunning. It does have that rose quartz sort of stone vibe, and it has almost like a little bit of a raised, you can feel like the rose quartz and her logo is raised. When you open the palette up, you do get a mirror in 18 different shades. Now this is a 24-month shelf life, also made in Italy, and it does have one of those balmy shades that I feel like everybody's talking about, very much like the highlighter she just released. It is this shade right here. Now I will say when I opened this, I was like, no, the dreaded balm shade, but mine actually looks more appealing in this palette than it does in the previous palette. So she originally released that balmy shade called Slippery in her Naughty Nude palette down here. You know, a lot of people are saying it looks like a petri dish, and I cannot disagree. It just is not very appealing to have like little, I don't know, things encapsulated in a balm. So I don't know if every palette is going to be like this one, because I feel like they can't all be consistent. Just the nature of it, I feel like they maybe are dropping little pearl beads in there and then putting the balm over it. So I don't know if I just got lucky, but this is not as triggering as I thought it would be. So I'm interested to swatch it and see how it applies. Next, we have the highlighter. So this is the Rose Quartz Face Gloss Highlighting Dew. Packaging is the same on the box with the white and the metallic pink logo. The actual packaging on this compact is a little bit different from the palette. The palette has more of like a shiny, sort of reflective look, whereas this one is matte, but that same sort of quartz design. This product is also made in Italy, and it has an 18-month shelf life. I thought that was quite a long shelf life for something that is creamy or balmy. Usually things like this could be 12-month or 6-month. Now let's talk about this, because I feel like this is really what's getting everybody to talk about this collection. This is her Pearl in Gloss formula. So essentially it has these pigment pearls, metallic pearls that give that highlight, but it has a gloss over it. So these pearls are sort of encapsulated in there. I mean, everybody's saying it looks like a petri dish. I have to agree. It's not very flattering to look at or appealing. I mean, it does just look a little bit like, ooh, I don't know if I want to put that on my face. So it says, lightly press the product onto skin. Do not swipe to avoid disturbing powder products. So we're going to try that out. So immediately when I touch into it, I can feel the pearls, like they're raised. Okay, and this is what it looks like. As I'm rubbing into it, you can see it swirls together and the little pearls aren't so apparent, which might be good for those of you that are triggered by it. So this is about my 4th layer. I really want to build this up for you guys. This is what it's swatching like. I mean, it does feel like a lip balm or something like that. So we'll have to see how it applies to the face. And then lastly, we have the Silk Balm Rose Quartz. The outer box packaging is the same as the other products. And then you have this really beautiful pink reflective fading into a white at the top. This is also made in Italy. It has a 12-month shelf life. And it does say this is a limited edition formula infused with rose quartz powder and pink gold pearls. So now that we've gone over the products and seen close-ups, swatches, a little bit about them, I will leave all the information down below as well as the products linked to where you can get them and when you can get them. And let's go ahead and jump into the demo and actually applying these products to the face. So I've got you zoomed in. I want to start off by applying the Rose Quartz Silk Balm. I always hydrate my lips while I'm doing my eyeshadow and my makeup. I don't have any foundation on because I like to be able to clean up the edges. So let's go ahead and apply this. So you can see that it has a little bit of like a pink shimmer to it. It doesn't have like a scent that I can detect that like was added, like a vanilla or anything, but it does smell a little bit herbal, like almost like beeswax kind of, which isn't really my favorite, but it feels nice on the lips. It feels really nice on the lips. It coats them. I don't feel that it's sticky, but it does give you a shine. You could definitely use this as a lip gloss, which we may do later on. So I want to move on to the eyeshadow palette. I am excited about this. Really don't know what I want to do. I never plan things out. I just go for it. I do know that I love pinks. I wear pinks a lot on my cheeks, my lips, my eyes, so I'm probably going to go into the pinky sort of realm just because that's what is calling my name. Like this shade up here is looking so beautiful. This shade as well. I don't know if this will show up, but we're gonna play around. So I am going to attempt this shade Cherished, which is the lightest shade in the palette. I wanna see if this will even show up at all. It might not, which is like totally fine. This might be one that yeah, it's really light. It is showing up though. This might be one that you would use like if you cut your crease and put it on the lid or on your brow bone, if you want to brighten up or just to blend other shades. So I'm just laying this down. I really don't think it's going to do much, but it's a very, very light shade. So I would say, again, this is more for like your lid. If you were to just do like a matte on your lid. All right, so that really didn't do much. I'm gonna jump into Happiness, which looks like a really beautiful, like dull pink, definitely cool tone. So this whole palette is very cool toned, very pinky purple. Oh yeah, that's got pigment to it. So I'm going to apply this above my crease and sort of wing it out here. There's very minimal kick up in the pan, which I like. I recently did a video on the Primrose from Anastasia Beverly Hills and the colors were beautiful, but the fallout and the kick up was pretty intense. And then just kind of building this, but it's blending beautifully. I love this color. But again, I love pink eyeshadows, pink anything really. So next I'm going to jump into Gratitude. This is more of a cool tone, I don't know, like a grayish taupey shade. So this is a very cool palette. I have a smaller brush here and I'm just pretty much defining what I just did. I'm gonna pull it in here like towards the nose area. And then of course you can always go in with your previous brushes just to blend everything. Okay, so it should look something like this where we're just kind of building our dimension. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other eye. So to really add some depth, I think I'm going to mix these two shades here, staying mostly with this Precious and then adding a little bit of Mantra. I'm nervous because there's quite a big jump, but I want to add some depth. So I am very carefully placing this. This is a very cool toned shade. So I'm dipping mostly into Precious, but then I'm using a little bit of that Mantra. So far, everything's blending great. I'm not having any fallout, so we'll see when we get to the shimmery shades. And then I'm just gonna go over the edges. So I'm just basically doing the same thing multiple times, building this up. So next up, I'm gonna do a little bit of a cut crease on this inner corner. I'm gonna use my P. Louise base in Rumor 2. I've just had this forever. And I'm gonna use this brush. I bought this from, it was a collaboration with the Cut Creaser and Mellow Lops. I'm not sure the brand really, but I bought these brushes, and the Cut Creaser, she's super talented on Instagram, and she does a lot of sort of just like really intricate liner. So I'm gonna use this brush here, which is the C1, to map this out. So I've just mapped that out, and I can definitely fix anything I need to, but I'm just applying a little bit more to fill in just with a flat shader brush. So I've got my shape done on one side. I will link these brushes down below. They are very helpful. It comes in a pack, I think, of 4, but you can also get them individually, and it just really helps me to get the precision rather than trying to use a flat brush. I feel like I just don't have enough control, so I like to use this, and then I can fill in with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye, and then we'll keep going. All right, so I messed this one up a little bit, but we're gonna fix it. I'm gonna go back into the palette, and I think I'm gonna go into the shade Aura. I'm gonna use a really small brush, and I'm basically just going to define right over where we did the cut crease so I can fix my mistake over here. Just make sure it looks really sharp. So jumping back into the palette, I'm gonna mix a little bit of Gratitude in with the shade Precious. I wanna use this to blend what we just applied so that it doesn't look so harsh. And when I tell you I'm using light pressure, I'm using very light pressure for all of these steps. Like, I'm barely touching. So I don't know if you can tell, but it just still gave me that definition, but it's not as harsh as this side. So next up, I'm gonna go into the shade Cherished, which is that light matte pink. And I'm gonna use one of the brushes from her set. I'm not going to set this base, this P. Louise base, so hopefully it really grabs on to the shade. Yeah, that's really pretty. I went ahead and did my liner with the Huda Beauty liner. I love this liner so much. I'm gonna go back into the palette with this tiny brush, the C1, and I wanna go into this shade right here, and I want to draw on top of the cut crease. I hope I don't hate this. So we're just gonna try this out. So I'm gonna wet this brush and basically just outline the cut crease that I did. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and finish my makeup off camera. I'm gonna add lashes, do the whole thing except for highlighter, and then we will finish off the lower lash line, use the highlighter, and get into my final thoughts. So I went ahead and applied the rest of my makeup. I will link everything down below, but I wanna finish off on the lower lash line. I'm gonna use the shade Aura here, and I'm gonna use a flat brush and really smoke this on the lower lash line here, pretty tight up. This shade's interesting because when you look in the palette, it looks like a warmer shade, but it's really beautiful when you apply it. So next I'm gonna mix Aura and Gratitude, so just kind of a lighter option. And I'm just intensifying what I just did. So just smoking it out. And I'm gonna take a little bit of Serenity down here, which is a really beautiful lilac color, and just lightly buff on the outer portion here. Very lightly, I just wanna tie in a little bit of that cool pinky purple vibe. So I don't know if you can see the difference, but it just ties into the lid a little bit more. So now I wanna dip into Self Love, and I'm gonna use this on the inner corner here. This is one of those like marbled shades, which I don't know, they're not my favorite, but I'm trying to use as many shades as possible. I know I did more of a matte look, So that's why I'm trying to add, like I added the glitter and then I'm adding this. And then just to use one more shimmer, I'm gonna go into Abundance and I am going to wet my brush and apply a little bit on the lower lash line. All right, so I've switched brushes to something more precise. Yeah, you're just gonna get fallout. I always get fallout when I do my lower lash line, even if I wet the brush. So I'm just gonna pull this in pretty much to the inner corner here and then blend about halfway. So yeah, I think the key is you really want your brush to be like saturated wet. Still have a little bit of fallout, but really really douse your brush. I'm using Urban Decay All Nighter. Okay, and then last step, I promise, I have to go in a little bit with Mantra, and I just want to reinforce the lower lash line on the outer corner. So this is the deepest shade. So I went ahead and put some nude liner in my waterline as well as mascara, and the eyes are done. I want to move on to the Rose Quartz face gloss. This makes me nervous just because anything that's dewy, sticky, balmy, or like a gloss over powder can be disruptive. Now she does say to tap it in, don't swipe. So let me just swatch it again for you guys just to show you. So this is what it looks like after I've swatched it quite a bit. And you can see, I'm flipping you off, sorry. You can see the pink pigment. So I feel like it's one of those you really kind of got to get in there, get it going, and then you're going to get that pigment. So I am going to use my finger to apply. So let's go ahead and just go for it. So I am tapping it very lightly on the tops of my cheekbones. It's definitely sticky. So I'm just tapping it and then I'm using another finger to blend it out. It looks really pretty. I'm not noticing any lifting. So let's just build it up. So this is what it's looking like. It looks really pretty. I'm not noticing any lifting. Did about 2 layers, maybe 3 light layers. It does feel tacky, but I don't think that it lifted anything. I mean, I definitely think it's beautiful. And I do think that it has just enough pigment. It definitely has that pinky kind of pigment to it. I don't know if it's something that I would fuss with every day just because I don't know if it's like that crazy of a glow that I would, you know, like risk messing up my powder. And then lastly, I am going to apply a little bit of the balm just on top of my lipstick just to see. Yeah, it has a really pretty shine. So you could wear it as a gloss like this, or you could wear it as a treatment balm. All right, guys, so here's my finished makeup look using the new Huda Beauty Rose Quartz collection, and let's go over my thoughts. Starting out with the Silk Balm, I think it's a pretty balm. It feels very comfortable. If you don't like sticky, you would like this. Just because it's not sticky, it very much feels like a balm. It does have like a beeswax sort of scent, which isn't my favorite, but I like the color. You can wear it as a gloss as well. It's very shiny, but also very comfortable. So I do like it. I will use it, but I still am obsessed with the Too Faced Hangover Pillow Lip Balms, as well as the Lawless glosses. Moving on to the Rose Quartz Face Gloss. Okay, so I know a lot of people are not gonna like this just based on the way it looks, which I totally get. I think it's sort of like trying to get people to talk. I mean, this is something we've not seen in the industry before, and I do feel like Huda does a really good job at coming out with new products that are pretty innovative, whether you love them or not. I do think that it does what it says it's gonna do in terms of not lifting your powder. If you do tap it on, it does not disrupt your powder. I don't think that it's insanely glowy. I mean, it definitely has a glow to it, but it's nothing like crazy out of this world that I feel like would make me want to use it over just my powder highlighters or any other highlighter I have. So I don't dislike it. I actually think packing more of the pearls in here, at least in mine, gives it a little bit more pigment, a little bit more glow. It's a little bit sticky when you touch it, just very similar to kind of any, I guess, face dew or face gloss. So I don't dislike it by any means, but I feel like just the look of it is going to turn people off, and I don't know if I would say this is anything revolutionary in terms of how it looks on the skin. I do feel like I have a little bit of a glow, but it's really nothing crazy. Now I'll have to try it a little bit more. I like that it didn't lift my powder, but so far I'm just kind of so-so on this. Now my favorite thing from the collection, hands down, is the eyeshadow palette. I think the packaging is gorgeous. I think the color story is gorgeous. Now keep in mind, I do love pink. If you don't like pink, I don't know if you would like this, because there are quite a few pink shades in here. I would say 4 or 5 leaning pink. Then you've got lots of cool tones, and I feel like I'm gonna have to play around with this. I'm just imagining like this shade mixed with this shade with this shade. I mean, you could really do a beautiful like New Year's Eve look. You don't have to do purple or pink. That's just what I was drawn to. You could also stay up here and do more of a warm tone look. These are probably the warmest shades in here, but then you could go pink. I mean, there's so many routes that you could go, even though I know a lot of people are probably going to go for the pink just because, I don't know, you're drawn to it when the whole palette is pink, the packaging is pink, and there's so many beautiful pink transition shades. That's kind of what I was drawn to. I had very little fallout, only with the shimmer shade on the lower lash line. I had 0 issues blending. Everything was pigmented. It blended nicely. I didn't have to work hard. Wasn't overly powdery. I really love Huda's formula, so this is really not something new to me. The only shade that I won't use probably is that just sticky shade. I just don't think that this would be something I would want to put on my eye, because I do feel that it would just be like tacky on the lid and almost like glossy lids, which can be pretty for a photo, but I don't know about on the eye, which is why I didn't do it today. When I did it last time with her Naughty Nude, it actually lifted my eyeshadow. So I really wanted to enjoy the palette and use it how I would use it. So that would be the only shade I probably wouldn't use much. Again, this is my first impression, so I'll have to keep playing around with it. But overall, I love pink eyeshadows. I thought everything blended beautifully. And even that really light shade that I used on the lid, it's quite pigmented if you use a wet base. So if you're gonna go in with the lighter shades, just don't set your concealer or your eye base and you're good to go. So this is definitely a standout for me. Of course, I'll have to keep playing with it. But overall, this is the product I would recommend to you guys. Now, I wanted to compare it quickly to the Mercury Retrograde palette. I feel like I saw a lot of people saying they looked similar, and there definitely are similar shades. So I'm gonna throw up a close-up of the similar shades I could find between the two. But when you look at the Rose Quartz, it's very much cool tone, purples, pinks, very in that cool tone, sort of like pastel vibes. Whereas the Mercury Retrograde has these tones very similar to the Rose Quartz, but also this peachy tone. And then you've got these like warmer tone golds and then this turquoise matte. So they are quite similar. If you already have this and love this and you want to get kind of the sister to it, I would say you would really like the Rose Quartz. But if you have this, love it, and you don't want to splurge on another palette, then you could probably get very similar looks with this. So those are my overall first impressions on the new Huda Beauty collection. I will link everything down below that I used today, as well as the collection when it's launching. And I would like to know your thoughts. What did you guys think of the look I created? Are you excited for this? Are you going to pick it up? What do you think about the face gloss? I really want to know down below. Let's have a conversation. If you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe. I do a ton of trying new makeup videos and brand new launches. I will always update as well. So in a few weeks here, after I've tried these products many times, they will be in a first impression follow-up where I give you my full review. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm losing my voice out of nowhere. Who knows what's happening? Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.